Renegade, man in the wilderness. Keep it real and honest round here, no tabloid. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, worldwide, world diaspora, when they there. Yeah, man, wagwan. All right, I feel nice and I feel nice to myself this morning because last night when we had the Titans, cause you know what for whop them, we keep it real around here, no tabloid, none at all. We whop them and then, some of my friend them, some police friend and some, some people from the People National Party send me the link. Yes, and some police and some other people send me the link and say, yes, Patterson around there, Sir Patterson around there, whop them. I tell them the truth and I can't show it on my phone. Cause I know we not do tabloid. But them I said, no, but Mr. Lonesome, a year, 2 years ago, 3 years, yeah, teach people them thing, because the JLP come out and them sell too much lie. Them mash up it. And I say, yeah, that are them, because, when you hold people to the truth, and it's so simple for them now, for that, them go and do their own research. The JLP build off a propaganda machine, and them do Jamaica bad. And people, at time for people, face them and tell them these things, and point it out. Shouldn't be a party. You can't do this. And you don't try to discredit people by mouth without a thread approve of what you say. And that's a bull crap. Now, when them run out and them talk all these things, 18.5 years, me show them what Patterson do. What them do? Them back off. Them come back and attack them foolishness. I'm tell you, say, Patterson leave IMF in 1995 and do all these things. Me say Andrew Holness himself. And it hurt me to my heart when him come out with a man like Michael Manley. Remember we lived through the Water Manley, right? The Water Manley years. From 1972, I think we lived through it. You understand? We can't tell about it. And somebody had tell me about it. School, 2 cents per bus. Just one time. We have doctor, we have nurse, we have the clinic them better than the hospital them right now. Me say tough time, me say you put up a next thing, Trelawney with a little dirty vehicle. Me don't know what that you put out, but a little dirty vehicle where you say ambulance. Stop that foolishness. That PR thing they're not working. Yes. Uno attack Sir PJ Patterson. And that bullshit. Yes. When I live off of the NH, I'm not a fact when I live off of everything like what I say. CIA come, when they do everything to try overthrow government. When they spread lie and propaganda upon even Cuba right now, from a Cuba doctor. Right now, with the administration, they don't name Cuba doctor and nurse. We don't even have nothing. Because we don't have nothing already. And that's the reality. Cuba do anything? Jamaica coming there, Cuba now? These was lies. One of the most dangerous things about leave from America and coming to Jamaica, come destroy that. And I'm not a joke. You don't discredit party where really work. So we're going to play Sir PJ Patterson. He must set America straight. And you have something in Big Mama. Nastiness. You got paid 1.2 billion. Nastiness. And fish headless. We'll teach you something. People, I'm telling you something. Even if you vote for a party, what about Jamaica? And don't make nobody go in your head like you're the dunces on earth. And just run out and tell you all kind of little bull crap. Because them have a keyboard front of them now. Remember, truth comes straight. Like come all over the place. Me start, me show, because I start whop them. And I open it with Sir Mark Wolin. Them send me a little speech with Sir Mark Wolin from the show last time. I open it with that and then I go straight to Sir Patterson. I could have set some record. I remember when I can look on the record. And I what them I say. A guy with a mic round there. And him can't show me one evidence. That's why I'm showing you even the CIA. Because these things are for release. See? Everything when me talk about, remember, me not just come talk, so, me have to have them as facts and show. I want to see them 18.5 years. This is how them kind go, no. But yes, still right now, we know the most vicious, corrupted, criminal government of all time, Andrew Holness-led government. Criminal, straight up, 28 bank account. 273 million out of 3 book. I know nobody no question this. In a NCB, the man draw $150 million. You tell me about money laundering. 120 million in a NCB account. That same NCB, we seen collect 144,000 US. 143,000 US. Like, if you put the 160, we're like 22 million. Both not get back in money, I know, and all them people, they were to come out. And I know them not chat to Cadsway. And we see Cadsway sign in 2019 and 2020 or so. We do 160 million. I know the DP, because she corrupted too. I want him to call that spade runners, clubs are clubs. Let me start my show, because I'm a club at them, I understand. I listen to what Sir Patterson has said, we're a club at them. Touch a little thing. BLJ on a good man. You understand? But we have these things in our history. Yeah, but these things are where we have documentation from we show. So when them run out, and by the way, honest, you have some million, stop pay them. You waste money. Them can't help you. See? Because you have some million but we don't have pan like TikTok and them things, and them just come out and like them just say, Patterson the worst, but yes, still, they must survive after what Patterson bring in. Them not know now. Because una say that you have fish head this way, you shouldn't even hire because him no good. I better make him stay under Big Mama. Him no good. Him not a journalist, him a repeater. He wasn't a journalist neither, he's a piece of shit. Brad back. Trust me, 21, remember? You come and threaten me. Remember more I get Brad but then I joke me and make him. He's a piece of shit. Because you don't know who you are with. He's a piece of shit. And nobody that piece of Marlon, trust me, 21, Morgan, nobody not supposed to even chat to that piece of garbage. That a garbage. Them dunks. They are educated fools. Let me start my show.
We in lump sum, we a beat it till the hammer burn. We now make them get in on them and again. None of them boy that we none of them. We in lump sum, we a beat it till the hammer burn. We now make them get in on them and again. None of them boy that we none of them. We alone some rise up the bomber dude.
I'm not a Judas, them a backstabber. I'm my wife and this straight beauty and glamour. No guy can walk to name me with no dagger. Maybe the heart of Mandela, but the mind of a Zama in the mold like a bull man. We send us the glamour. Lyrically inclined, be a metaphor, so no listen to lyrics line to line. Become a lyrical fighter, put up any with him, they want some more hole in a hater. Lyrically inclined.
Yes, man. So, we are open with Sir Mark Golding, right? And we must say 100% reality. Because when them do them go, we have some mastermind. Big up on yourself in the family. You run us at the learning channel, we know, yes. And we're not big friend. We don't put more tag on and talk, we're not big friend. Them can't treat the people them again. Me not the wilderness, but we know we history, Yes, we know we history. I believe through some things with them can't tell me nothing about. None of them. See? And you notice when me talk, at the Prime Minister himself I come talk, the former Prime Minister. And him have him think them well lay out. And them have it and him are lay it out. So not fear for me. But growing up so, we always show the proof. When if we stop, listen to these garbage, when them go around, especially, only you have some sperm weight, stop wasting money, brother. Them nah do good. The truth comes straight and lie go all about. It hurt my heart when you yourself attack Michael Manley. And if you come back and talk about your godfather, up to Bruce, I feel make say no, a statesman that run the world, but everybody look on. Because down in Africa, South Africa, them put him up too and do all kind of things. And then you did try desecrate the man. Out of the history of Jamaica, the man name. Yeah? Blacked out him name. You did try that. You feel? Because you get me, you really get me mad, you get me real upset. If you know you have to lie, And you see, when you're not doing about lies, it take on body of itself to the fools and unwise. Because them not do no research and them repeat and then them spread it abroad. See? And that with our people, you know, our black nation, other nation, them study. You say something and them go look and them try, do a research and make sure, facts check it. Our people, them hear something and them run out with it. Andrew only for anyone lie, live in a 1 room and 2 room, and may I show you much lie tell. But when him says something now, you have some little minions around him, run with it and anyone lie. Me you bug like them with the hospital and thing. We are gonna set it straight again. Because remember, me have the whole fact, me have the whole of that thing. Step down. And remember, me not do talking. But me I gotta see what the Prime Minister himself I say. Now me start with Sir Mark Wall, the Prime Minister, and waiting at the election card, you know. Me could call, me could listen what Sir Mark Wall and I say, yes, the opening. No one use Sir Mark Wall and open this before me start play that. Watch this.
And it is so important in this era where misinformation flies around cyberspace at alarming levels and speed, and where our opponents devote considerable effort to revise history in ways which seek to denigrate, understate, and otherwise misinform about the achievements and the performance of the People's National Party in the various iterations of government where we have led. Almost as if they realize that if the truth is well understood, it will be obvious to the electorate where the right choice lies.
And no more of that, you know, we're not allowed that throne us. We're not allowed throne us. Yes. But I'm super granddad, you know, we don't have no time for other. I'm not other and take off nothing. I'm not care about who. We keep it real around us. I have to keep it real around us. Yes. You understand? And as I said, but again, Andrew, it don't make sense. You say you take off of it, your propaganda out of your machine. Remember me have that you pan video saying these things. And you know, you come with this and that and spreading for misinformation. You still have them at it. You have the sperm when you oral every day. I'm going to put. Remember, I can't even talk for save himself. What you do with them? You still film him. I read out in a fit it name. I read out in a parliament by E.R. Clark. And some of that sperm whale when it make no sense. Yes, them can't come and reason with the people. Them just come and spread lie, and when you look on them, you reject them. It's no good. You can't play, play with people thinking about politics. If a prime minister come and do good, whether I'm a PMP or JLP, and you can point out him achievement, I will point it out. I mean, the bias thing, you know, I'll hear them talking about, when you know the thing with them do and the lie, with them telling how them destroy the place and then use PR and attack the PMP and I try to say, we do this here still. The very thing with the people them live by, where the PMP put in, and people can go look it up and see when it come into being, you know? Yes. You know, I eat them I rub out, but I eat them I use. It don't make no sense. And people can't so stupid. Wake up and stop the foolishness. This party are for the big boys. And you notice that them and them friend, you notice so the man rich. Look pan, before me even go on this so when a man the dead left, where him have? Him did have hotel. When Michael man, them say dead poor. Yeah. And them not like when poor people. What PJ have, can them that spread rumor about him live at this not no go so. When them get mashed up in the car, when you see my walk, me see all the dirty thinking sperm whale one, when him oral again, put out Sir PJ, remember he's a former prime minister, and him not accident, so make him walk, and you know, why? Put the little laughing and thing, him no know. These are what Andrew have. And them they will not really pay. Laugh over somebody when a car accident. Can you carry an accident too, you know, brother? Yeah, me no accident too. Last, you know, my father out of that. Me no accident. Yeah, me no accident. You know, me and my sister, them, I'm the old man. See? So that them use and put up accident. You know, my walk and my and put up all that. Me tell you, say them now have nothing about them, you know. Nothing about them. See? What Mama P have? She remember, you know? See, I go with him hotel. You remember him over a hotel, see how when him done. Pernell Charles, so it's not the first. Pernell Charles, 1,500 acre land. $1 per 1.5 acre, 1.5 acre. Out of St. Thomas. I'm not over 2,000 acre land him having. When he was minister. And we see it come repeat again, and all them do is full of people, them Edward Bull crap. This have to stop. Need to stop. Yeah, need to stop. Yeah, need to stop. So I not see none of them lead up over PMP, them wealthy. Not live like Andrew. Unless them have them own thing like Mark a liar, you know. And think Andrew never work it, you know. Never work. Different from in our politics. Dead man Mackenzie, them never work. Say I go beat him. Beat him thick. And can you imagine you have voted for somebody and them come and beat you? That is gang shit. Should have goddamn shame. Eh? People should have get charged. You are MP beat people. That will show you the kind of regime where them are run under. Can't go. No MP, no. You can't put your hand on people. It's wrong. You can't get up and put your hand on people. It's wrong. It's wrong. We're going to start this now. We're going to start playing. I'm just here where Sir Patterson at the writer. So it's wrong, you know. It's wrong. Yes, it's wrong. You understand? It's a goddamn disgrace. But like what Paula said, forget the ass pop same way and should have still should have pop it. Eh? Forget where you get so you get a peer popping and all kind of little things, it's bad. Eh? It shouldn't be. And then you go around and try to win off a default by selling lies and propaganda where you can fact check easy now. I remember now, another, the more peace rather them have this again, we have one platform. We used to depend on that and them in mostly, you know. Yes, and them used to mostly. Can't work again now. Can't work again, we have one platform. See? And we have more influence than with them think. Yes. You understand? Yes. So it can't work again. So we hold them here, so we hold them, yeah, but we hold them feet to the fire, yeah? Let me start this. So maybe here where Sir PJ as a writer, son.
KC, Jamaica's 6th Prime Minister and former leader of the People's National Party. The region salutes you, sir. As a statement, PJ Patterson had left an indelible mark on Jamaican history. He served as Prime Minister and leader for a party from 1992 to 2006. When he retired undefeated, his period at the wicket is still the finest to date. In every respect, it was an innings of genius. Sir, West Indies cricket would be delighted to find someone with your productivity at a time when runs come at a premium. Well played. Comrade Patterson, your commitment to education, economic growth, infrastructure, and social development has been unwavering and unmatched. Thank you. You have demonstrated exceptional leadership skills throughout your illustrious career, guiding Jamaica through significant challenges and milestones. Your dedication to nation well-being has earned you numerous accolades and recognition as a global icon. But yet, you remain humble and committed to the mission you started. Thank you, sir. As we gather today, we pay tribute to one of our finest sons, remarkable contribution to Jamaica's transformation. We celebrate and embrace your vision, wisdom, and tireless effort to see a better future for all Jamaicans. Please join me in extending a warm regentry welcome to the most honorable PJ Patterson, OM, OCC, KC. We are so privileged to have you with us today to guide and inspire us simply by getting the record straight, lest we forget. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon. And I now, in the interest of moving things along, invite Mr. Andre Hilton, Chairman of the PNP's Outreach Commission, to give an overview of this evening's program.
Thank you, Chair. You know, I'm very close to some powerful women. And when we get into this thing about chairman, one such lady says, just keep it as chair when we are referring to the females, you know. So I'm learning. Happy to see everyone. It's really nice. I was a little bit, not saying nervous, but concerned about the turnout at this hour of the evening, but I'm very delighted to see you all here this evening. I want it to be an educational evening, a fun evening, a fellowship. We need to interact with each other, and I was so happy to see the party leader moving through the room. He's really a politician, boy. Work the room, you know, that's so great. Give him a round of applause. And of course, Comrade Patterson needs, you know, there's just so many accolades, but, you know, I tell you, when the party leader asked me to serve as outreach chairman, which I did a few years ago, and I told Comrade Patterson, he was as excited as I was, and gave me some very insightful directions. And I really admire him for his stewardship and his mentorship. And of course, our party leader, who is a very, I've known him long before I even got into politics. So, you know, we're here to work together. The Outreach Commission was set up primarily to attract us Jamaicans who do not necessarily go to a political meeting, but wants to be a part of the decision making of their country. They want to understand what this People's National Party is about. So sometimes we have to organize events like these, where we can sit in this kind of private, so-called private atmosphere and discuss what the policies of the PNP are, and also in terms of looking forward and where we go. So I'm very happy that you have all turned up. And some very nice, you know, intergenerational kind of thing. We have the young, we have the not so young. I don't know what Damien fall under now, if you're young or old, but I don't know. You're getting there, you know, join me in the group. We've also done a lot of projects, and just to give you an idea, we did one in Montego Bay, similar with Comrade Patterson. This is the second in its, it looks like it's going to become a series. We need to discuss it with him and the leader. But we've done various backyards. Patricia is here, Stacy is here, Julian is here. They do a lot of little backyard things with people, sometimes at 10, 20 persons. If you want to do that, please feel free to contact me and we will ensure that that is done. We have also had the Sigma Run. We've gone through that. We had a lot of people walking, and we were so happy and delighted to have the party leader joining us. And a man said me there and said, boy, the party leader never run. I said, what is he running for? The man is cool and relaxed. He's walking to the finish line. He's fully confident. That ain't right, you know. But I tell you, we think about run, you know, but we have the thing under control. But this evening's event is really it's all about context, content, and of course correctness. Yes. In Montego Bay, when we had that Region 6 meeting, I tell you, it really opened my eye, and the individuals that were there were so, I mean, they were so fulfilled. We had young people, 6 farmers coming to the meeting, and afterwards I was interacting with them, and they were just so astonished as to the level of achievements and where the party is and where the party is going. They were very excited. So I'd like to say, sit back, relax. When you leave here this evening, please take the message with you. When you leave here this evening, if you wish to have any little get together, or somebody just told me about a church service a while ago, said, let's talk. because we want to bring the PNP to the people and the people to the PNP, right, Comrade Chair? So thank you all for coming, and let's just really have a rich evening this evening. Thank you.
We could not have found a better chairman of the Outreach Commission. Do you agree? And this man is forever young. He was there when I never turned 20 yet and was attending a commission function and just as sprightly. So they never chose a better man. However, now to the keynote address. And believe me, it is my distinct pleasure to be able to introduce this statesman who I will tell you said to us earlier, keep it short. So 4 pages, here I go. So it is a distinct honor to introduce a statesman, a visionary leader, and one of the most influential figures in Jamaica's history, the Most Honorable PJ Patterson. We say PJ. Mr. Patterson is Jamaica's longest-serving Prime Minister, having led the nation from 1992 to 2006 during a period of significant economic transformation, social progress, and diplomatic leadership on the global stage. A distinguished legal mind and dedicated public servant, he played a pivotal role in modernizing Jamaica's infrastructure, Highway 2000. We say Mr. Infrastructure. He was also pivotal in advancing education and strengthening the democratic institutions that we all enjoy today. Beyond our borders, he remains a towering figure in Caribbean integration, having been a champion of regionalism, a driving force behind CARICOM's deepening ties, and a strong advocate for the interests of the Global South. Today, we are privileged to hear from a leader whose wisdom and experience continue to shape our national and regional discourse. Please join me in welcoming the Most Honorable Percival James Patterson. We say PJ.
Thank you for granting me the privilege of age to make my presentation seated. Symposium Chair, Party Leader Mark Golding, officers of the People's National Party, members of Parliament, candidates, Your Worship the Mayor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, last but obviously not least, comrades.
Heaven. I could pass that quick. I could pass this quick. I could pass that one there quick. Yes. We'll just pass them a quick. Yes. All right. Yeah, man. We get a couple of them here, but we can't pass them a quick. We could just move that out of the way. Yeah, man. So we're going to listen, Sir PJ right now. This is Sir PJ speech. He might straighten out. I could just go back to him right now. Yes. Yes. He must straighten out. He must straighten them out, man. Straighten them out, tell them the truth. Yes. Straighten them out, sir. All right. Continue.
A few weeks ago, I stepped out of the pavilion in Montego Bay. That was in response to an invitation from the Outreach Committee of Region 6. As you have heard, the purpose of the Outreach Commission, of which I was the founding chair, its purpose was to extend the party's span beyond its core membership. Please remember, we are the national party. I've been watching the sustained campaign to rewrite history and to denounce the exemplary record of the PNP during the decades of the 70s and the 90s. They have sought to demonize successive PNP administrations.
Yeah, talk no, Paula. Where the nastiness?
Fuck is wrong
Yeah.
with that? Get the fuck off of the platform, brother. You see anybody up believe right? Nastiness, copious, gang to bind, dog shit. You know, see what there's my friends I get big ones here, but go over there, so go talk to him.
Yeah, big, yes. Big nasty thinking, what, said to me, piece of shit. We're going to ban you again, you know. Maybe just take a little thing with you. So you can't say, no, come over here. Forget Brad Board is a piece of shit. Yes. You're a piece of shit. You're not supposed to in this neither, yeah? Yes. Yes, man. And he's a pain in a big mama ass. He's a piece of shit. Don't come on this. Keep on this, yeah? All right, good. All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's a pain in big mama ass, man. Yes. It's a piece of shit. All right. Continue.
And to vilify its leaders, Comrade Michael Manley, Comrade Portia Simpson Miller, and in my case, because Mr. Percy had no mercy in taking the trifecta. Their motive is clear. They want to falsify history.
Yes.
And poison the minds of those in the electorate who were not aware of what happened and when, and who haven't made the effort to learn. Father, as Paul is familiar with that portion of the scriptures, which says, to everything, there's a time and a season. Time come to set the record straight. Time come to remind Jamaica of our memorable accomplishments, lest we forget. Those of you who know me realize that personal attacks or abuse have never prevented me from doing what duty demands, or forced me into silence when my voice must be heard, and they never will. I have to ask myself, my presentation in Montego Bay, when I refrained from drawing out the political long handle, as I previously used to do, what is it that caused some persons to be so upset? Was it that I had mentioned that at a time when it was not required by law, I made my returns to the Integrity Commission public? I started with 5 bank accounts and I ended with 5. I reminded the meeting that there was somebody who said they were going to make Jamaica safe and we could sleep with our windows and doors open. And I said, nobody in Jamaica can feel safe in the present situation. Who can question that? I said not only are the levels of crime high, intolerably high, but the ferocity of those crimes is without precedent. And you only have to think of what has taken place in Clarendon, both in the hills and on the plains. Crime can't be a political football.
Thank you.
And I said then, and I repeat today, we are encouraged somewhat that there's a drop this year, but we have to go much further.
Thank you.
I would have thought that the response to that statement would be to ask, how do we get total national unity to fight the monster of crime?
Good.
How do we make sure that the entire nation gives support to the security forces and the agencies in the relentless fight? Because that is absolutely necessary.
Yes.
I said our roads are in a state of dilapidation, of disrepair never seen before. And for a boy who come from country, I said not even in the days of pure rock stone roads. I asked what has happened to the road maintenance fund that we built. I have said we build highways and we know how to build them. Look at the new highway to St. Thomas. One person who has some knowledge of the law in attacking me asked, how is it that in my time we never completed or advanced constitutional reform? And I remember when I started to practice and I went across the Norman Manley's chambers, taking his wig and gown out of locker room number 1. He said to me, refrain from asking a witness a question if the answers will destroy your case. How does that apply? I'm going to say what we did. Before Michael departed, he had started the process which allowed me in May of 1992 to set up a constitutional commission charged with revisions of the Constitution, chaired by the Honorable Mr. Justice Sewell Carter of blessed memory. First thing, if you're going to do national consultations, don't ask an activist politician to lead the process.
Thank you.
If you're living in Canada,
All right, so I'm gonna move that again. You know, we are gonna have a couple of that, so let's move that fast out of my way. What you mean? Thank you, sir. You don't ask them. Like what the man said, don't ask them none at all. Move that out of my way. Get back. Hey, them up there. You have to fast when you do them thing. Get back. Get back. All right. Up again. Yeah.
They went all around the island, genuine consultations.
Yes.
They made recommendations. The Jamaica Labour Party did not sign the report. The work was completed, chaired by Dr. Lloyd Barnett.
Okay.
When that was done, I set up a parliamentary committee chaired by the Honorable David Core.
Oh.
They took it way down the line towards the tape. After this process, which has just ended, any changes they have made are in one direction and one direction only. They want to vest more power in the executive arm. They want to vest more power in the Prime Minister. They want to enable certain amendments to proceed without two-thirds majority in both houses.
That don't make no sense.
I don't have to say anything here about the lunacy of leaving the King's crown but remaining in the King's court. Because the court could decide in an appropriate motion what are the consequences of your having left, which would be regarded as detrimental to the interests of the country in which the Privy Council is cited. I said then, I would never, ever agree to the head of state being chosen in a manner which makes that person beholden to a simple majority vote. Now, what the person who asked the question or posed the problem didn't know, because he wasn't there at the time. We were ready to go when, after the 1997 elections, coming up to 2002, there was one outstanding matter, and that is whether it was two-thirds of both houses voting separately or two-thirds of everybody voting. In the committee, we proposed two-thirds of everybody voting together. But it didn't take me long when it came back to me to say that couldn't spin. I have always operated on a simple principle. Any law you are going to pass, think about how you would react to it in opposition. And if you find it repugnant, then you cannot expect the opposition to agree to it, or you should not. And these people are operating as though they are going to be in government in perpetuity.
If you're unsure or unaware of your
Again. No, I think knock it fast, We just knock them fast out of my way, yeah?
eyeglass prescription,
Yes.
or if your prescription changes frequently due to near
Knock them fast out of my way. Start again.
We are a democratic party. When we wanted to move from an executive president to a ceremonial plus president, I had to come to annual conference and ask the delegates permission to make that move. The search for national consensus must be the foundation of constitutional reform, not partisan advantage. There's one thing, or one of the things I learned sitting at the feet of Norman Manley. Much as any leader seeks political power, one must always love Jamaica more.
Thank you. Thank you. Good party.
And there are many people who are upset to this day with certain decisions that Norman Manley took, but those decisions were all in the interest of the nation, not confined to the interests of our party which he led. One of the reasons why we moved towards a ceremonial plus president is our experience in the 1980s. And in particular, when we saw the prospect that this country was going to break in two along political lines.
Yes.
And it is to their everlasting credit that both Michael Manley and Edward Siaga accepted that we had to pull back from over the brink. As a consequence, they set up a committee, and I can share with you the personal animosity between the two leaders was so high that the only way they could find a solution was to ask Mr. Shearer on one side and me on the other side to lead the two delegations, of course reporting to the two leaders. And we set up what was then the Electoral Advisory Committee, which has morphed into the Electoral Commission. We want it entrenched in the new constitution.
Yeah.
But if you want to really understand how well that commission has performed, think back to 2016 when the results came out 32 to 31. And within a few days of those results, a new government was sworn into power, and she has never gotten enough credit for this. Portia Simpson Miller was seated on the platform as the outgoing Prime Minister. So now, I am alarmed when unilaterally, they take the decision to move the office of the public defender, public ombudsman, the political ombudsman into the Electoral Commission. First of all, it's a conflict of interest. By its very nature, you cannot put the body which is responsible for ensuring free and fair elections into a situation where they have to be taking a position that involves differences between both sides. That's my first point. But my second point, and more significantly, what fills me with such alarm is that the moment one side decides to change the Electoral Commission's powers without consultation, you're opening the door.
For the next side, wait.
And I'm going to share something with you which I wrote, which I have spoken about before, but just to get you to understand why my concern. When we were coming up to the 1993 elections, the EAC, as it then was, asked permission, said that they were recommending an external mission to observe elections. And when we considered it in cabinet, first of all, it was not within their legal remit. We considered it in the cabinet, and we decided no, we weren't going to allow it. And then again, I thought a little bit more. People a lot of times misunderstand me. When I speak, I try to speak clearly, and I don't want to have to withdraw it. And I have always learned, engage the head before you engage your mouth. So when I thought about it, I said, you know, although it is not within their remit, if I refuse their unanimous recommendation, the next time they make a recommendation, Mr. Siaga might refuse it. Therefore, I go along with their recommendation.
Yeah.
I had to go back to my cabinet. Some of them are here. And I had to persuade them. And in the end, I had to say to them, give me this one. And they agreed. Consequence?
People, we just stop this a minute. You hear what I'm saying? If I go back to him cabinet, everything with Andrew do him and him cabinet. Just because in a wall, at the whole of them make that decision. And him alone, the whole of them responsible for the downfall of Jamaica. Yeah? Continue.
The Carter Commission came. It certified that elections were free and fair, but it also pointed to some weaknesses. One of which was that when you had polling stations that were voted out, it did not reflect the will of the whole constituency. We wanted to have one person, one vote. So we looked at it and we devised the creation of somebody on the Electoral Commission. We entrusted them with the power, when such a thing arises, to declare those polling stations null and void and to have it over again. And I wonder if the present incumbent in West Central St. Andrew realized that he would be nowhere but for that introduction. And we had to do it not once, but twice. Now, you see what is already brewing between the Electoral Commission and the government. And all I would say is this. In 1967, I really learned from the JLP what gerrymandering was. But I never knew that you could gerrymander a whole parish. And again, all I would say, because I don't want to give any clue to anybody.
In less than 24 hours, you will have
Pass this. I'm not gonna pass this.
Constitutional issues which will arise. And I miss the days when I could put on my gown and say, see you in court. Today, March the 6th, was deliberately chosen. It is 28 years since the passing of the great Michael Manley. No one since the grant of universal adult suffrage has done more than he did during what I call an irreversible era of social transformation. Time and space will not allow me to go into the details of his achievements. As I said elsewhere, Sparrow Martin in the Message says it best. But especially for the benefit of those who are too young to know, it is necessary for me to highlight a few of the giant steps we took during the 1970s to make every man, woman, or child SMADI. Lest we forget. Michael's passion was the building of a just society.
True.
One designed to ensure that every man, woman, and child would have an equal chance in life. We start with the Status of Children Act, which we refer to in common talk, no bastard no day again. that provided equality for children in the sight of God, of man, and of the law, that dealt with rights of children born out of wedlock when their parents pass. He introduced maternity leave with pay, equal pay for women. Perhaps one of the most outstanding in English common law jurisprudence was the abolition of the Master and Servant Act. Until then, as in the days of slavery, employees were regarded as the property of their masters. The very term is repugnant. The introduction of the Labor Relations and Industrial Disputes Act, the right to a job is property, which entitles the person to reinstatement. I hear whispers in some quarters about removing redundancy payments. And I say simply, don't anybody dare to go there. I notice with pleasure that the People's National Party has already pledged to make the legislative changes to afford full protection in the service industries, whether it be tourism, security guards, BPO workers, and the whole range of people who are working basically on contracts and can be terminated at will without any benefits. I can't resist the temptation to say, juke them with Jamal.
Show your daughter how much you love her with this beautiful gift.
Wow. Stop that. Stop that. Move this.
Liberating power of literacy cannot be exaggerated. No. I speak about the extension of the 2,000 free scholarships which Norman Manley gave, which I contend is one of the most revolutionary steps that was taken up till then. Michael went further to the tertiary level. And I say simply, no matter what they say, the legacy of Michael Norman Manley will be cherished in perpetuity. The word was love and forever shall be. Now, I come to set the record straight. And I want to talk about the era from 80 to 89. We now have had access to the documents in Washington which establish beyond doubt the role of the CIA in destabilizing the Michael Manley administration. We know what triggered the presidential authorization. We know who were the principal contacts in the Jamaica Labour Party. We know the local groups and corporate entities that became the agents and tools for the overthrow with that massive defeat that we suffered 51-9. After that, and some of you are present, the People's National Party, as it always does, had some introspection to do. Not about our mission, not about our purpose, but about the methods by which we fulfill the sacred mission of the People's National Party. And that had to be done in light of the dramatic changes in the international environment, and it was soon to be followed by the disappearance of a bipolar world. The winds of globalization and the market economy had reached hurricane category 5 strength. The PNP had to rethink the role of the state in economic development while maintaining its steadfast commitment to providing equal opportunity and to secure justice for all. You remember that Siaga was the first foreign visitor to Reagan. Reagan vowed to help make Jamaica a model of success for capitalism and ideological conservative alliances. He set up the David Rockefeller Group. They purchased tons and tons of bauxite and alumina for stockpiling. Between 81 to 88, Jamaica borrowed $2.1 billion from the IMF, the World Bank, the IDB. All those loans from the multilateral agencies were concessionary, but they came with harsh conditionalities. We who were living in those times witnessed the social programs being decimated. And the worst sufferers were, of course, the poor and the marginalized. The national growth of 0.9%, which they attained for the decade of the 80s, was not due to any new investment projects. It was attributable to low oil prices in 1986 and beyond. Meanwhile, the national debt was soaring enormously. These people boast about economic management. Took over when the debt to GDP ratio was 63% in 1980. By 1989, it had ballooned to 262%. They dismantled local government cemeteries. local government services, and Mayor, they left you only to deal with cemeteries and markets. Several hospitals were closed or downgraded.
Right.
At one time, our net international reserves had fallen precipitously to an all-time low, minus 803 million.
Yeah. When you hear this,
The
that's why I'm telling you, I have to be careful and I have to stop him there, so you know. That's why I'm telling you, I have to be careful when them come out and them spread them propaganda and them misinformation. Who attack for them now? Them now have a clue about what going on. The Prime Minister himself attack us. Yeah? Prime Minister himself. You have to be careful of misinformation and disinformation. Yes. You want to say something, sister? Yeah, talk quick. Come up on my live, talk quick. All right, not so nothing. You repeat, cool. All right, all right. So, Anjo, me see where I go on now. So, when me get car, me have vehicle all over the place. So, we get a class. Classes start. You know, classes for EOJ. So, you tell me when the election are called soon. By June, July. Election are called soon. 5-day classes start right now. Yes. You know, it's when I do tabloid, you know, I can just tell him myself, so again, well, I know people are him can't repeat that, of course. Me and the man in the wilderness, man. He just step one fuck out. I know what I go on, man. Me have eagle everywhere, you know. All right. See? Me have eagle everywhere. So if you just call it, a matter of fact, if you call it next week, and done. That's why I'm tell you, you know, them run out and them say all these things. And remember Big Nat, the one we call the fish headless. And Bug Life them come out and say, PMP no build no hospital and PMP no do this. And them Buster Manti Hospital. That was an army hospital. 1963, them get it as a gift and just put Bustamante children on it. My grandmother used to work at children, you know. Me used to change her chicken. She worked from the 60s, from back in the day. My mother. Yes. See, me used to go up there. Yeah, no, enough of them up there, them people, they must be dead. They don't have no one them thing there. I go the family. You understand? For my time. And let me tell you this. The new part of Patterson, them put, you have a new part of children, you see this, so. And the bottom gate that we used to walk, where I take for the gate now, we used to walk up at the top this and go in. At the old part, she used to work, then them building a new part there, in the refurbished building a new part there. See? So when them attack them bag of crap, just listen to the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, he must said something straight for them. Don't follow them and them PR, misinformation and disinformation. Yes? You can't use that win election and tell lie. Yes. You understand? TM Rose. All right, good. And some know, so no. Hey, remember when I do tabloid run here? Them can't trick me and go in my head, you know. Yes. But you know, it's an information age, you know, them do something what they want to use, you know. Information and misinformation and disinformation and run out with it. Whereas on the PMP mash up when them do the thing of them build the country. Tell me one thing what them you do. You might tell about say I got time. Say I got lock down hospital and do all kind of things. Let me continue. Yes. You understand? And it's there, you know. Because I have them and I show them. And you have to repeat and make the people them go do them one research. Andrew, the worst Prime Minister, him at 21 too, you know. Yes, 21%. Him coming like Tristan at 21. Water. Yeah? 21%. No good. Continue.
Despite this, they failed 4 IMF tests.
So them failed 4 IMF tests too in the round because the action with them take. Them lock down JOS and everything, you know. Him not tell everything, you know. Him just give some basic things with them. They make them come and trick nobody, boy. Can't trick nobody. Continue.
And used a statement from our then General Secretary as a pretext to call the bogus elections in 1983, breaking a solemn commitment not to hold any elections before there was a new electoral voters list.
Yes. Run that quick. All right. Move.
When we came to office in 1989, we inherited an IMF agreement, a World Bank structural adjustment loan, an IDB loan,
Okay.
all of which were dictated according to the gospel of the Washington Consensus.
All of them dictated, and him left it. And then you have big nasty mama now run out. He must up his lie. Him leave the IMF, them come back and them push you back into this austerity measure. Andrew one is a part of it too. Was part of the cabinet. And him rich too. Andrew for going, man. Continue.
We had no trade preferences any longer for our primary commodities. And we were unable to protect domestic markets by tariffs. Can't do what is being done to the north.
Yeah, so we couldn't do nothing. The deal Messiah put in a turmoil. And to do the worse. Continue.
And trade quotas had disappeared. Trade quotas. So there was an urgent need for deep reform of the Jamaican economy and its productive base in order for us to compete in the global marketplace. When Michael Manley was leaving, you remember he made an address to the nation. And he said this: the leadership contest will not affect the market economy path, nor our commitment to tourism. The programs of commitment, of empowerment, our commitment to regional integration will not change. For the choices will be between persons who have helped me make all the policies which now guide the actions of the government. I've outlined the background to set the record straight and smash the deliberate plots to distort the truth by those who would prefer us to forget. I won't. They want to perpetuate the myth that they were geniuses at managing the economy and the PNP mashed it up. They won't tell you that the Bank of Jamaica had persons buying up US dollars on the illicit market. And notice I said illicit. It was done to pop up their bogus auction system of foreign exchange. They don't want to remind you that they had pre-sold bauxite and alumina, and also future revenues from cable and wireless. So we had no revenues to come from these sources.
What?
Julian, they are doing it again. And you are going to find that nothing is coming to you from the Norman Manley Airport. But they claim to be financial wizards. As we know, I finished Michael's term, and Portia finished mine. So we're dealing with 4 terms together. It's time to set the record straight and tell the story of what we actually accomplished. And I can only give you some snippets of it today. It is time to state clearly, very critical, what is the difference the PNP has always made in order to improve the lot and conditions of our Jamaican people. Lest we forget, we are the People's Party. We put people first.
Show him attack, man. No shower them with bullet. And about show. Put people first. Yeah, man. And the word I love, don't.
Remember when? Before we proceed any further, how many people remember that period in the 80s when the oil tankers in the harbor would not offload the fuel until they got paid? How many people remember the gas lines that were stretching for miles in the hot sun? You remember about when you want to purchase a new vehicle? You go to the dealer, you pay the money in full. When the car arrives, somebody give them a higher price and they give you back your money without interest. You remember?
All right. Stop this.
All of that stuff. I think Paulwell was at the trade board at the time. And several people today are doing well.
Of course.
Because of the cars.
Thank you.
That we are loaded.
Thank you. Hey, let me shake your hand. Hey, people, let me tell you. Hold on.
Remember me, I'm a country boy.
Hold on, man. Hold on, Sir Patterson, man. Let me shake your hand a little bit now, man. I teach, you know. Listen, let me just stop him there. So when Andrew them talk, this is a film contribution. Can you imagine? Brand new car, you don't have the money for pay fee cash. No. Enough of them know where a man a rolling car, robot taxi. Enough of them a ride bike. Enough of them a do this. Thank God for this man. And him team. PNP again. The phone them where you have, thank God for them. Thank God. And thank God for so much thing where them put in and then you take a man, you have him in a rubbish heap, big nasty thinking, hey, we need to stop it. Whether you are PNP, JLP, if you do good, give a man him honor people, honor you and show you respect. If you come with the arms out and spread misinformation and disinformation, we are going to diss you. Because you are shit. Yes, I'm a shit. See? You can't have much business now. You have highway with it too, you know. Highway, let's see how it was against. But him get name for highway now. Yes? All them do is just turn around and them do more. What them do is PR. And you come and study that PR and then tell people, blip, blip, and make promises. Them people are work. Thank God for him. Look how much people, some have 2 and 3 cars now. Look how much vehicle. You never have it. You know that. You know. The man carrying back about system and say, I got destroy. The man just continue. You just speak time him himself at all. But tell me why, when you do the work, you know, boy, it coming at me, you know. You know, me live like a father here, Bram. Man, I go Rockford, enough people just live uptown too. So I know I say book back, you know, we know the world life and the world sitting and them thing there. But make people tell about me, get to people. Me just not talk. So when you not talk, you know, somebody run out, blah, 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 and I say, hey, you're a flap. Only one thing me do, you know. Because I know I saw them stay, we document things. And we know music, so you know the thing them automatically are documented. You can't take me place, you can't do one, I can't hold you. And you're a crush when you do that. That's the greatest thing. See? So we keep it real around here. We keep it real around here. Yeah, the man, me say you have to give him thanks and yet big nasty thinking, mama try Eggs up with a man, yeah. Big dirty thinking, broad back. Sesame 21. And nasty fish head, there's some big nasty thinking, Mama Draws Davis, them. Want eggs up with this man. We must not allow it. Must not allow it. We no hear not here. Let me continue. Must not allow it. Yeah, man. Respect you, man. Stop it, man. Continue.
Remember the days of the call boxes? To make phone calls in rural Jamaica and our larger villages? When you had to go up to the street corner? We saw our task in 1989 as having to transform a weak and unstable economy and lay the foundations for sustained growth and development. The man that they have vilified so much.
Thank you.
The Minister of Finance, Omar Davis. He managed the macroeconomic indicators so well that we passed 12 IMF tests straight. And as a result of that, by 1995, I was able to say to the IMF, ta-ta and goodbye. I'm coming now to an issue that is very much alive today. And it is about financial management. All that we accomplished was done at the same time that we had to protect 1.5 million deposit accounts and 570,000 insurance policy holders out of our own resources.
All right.
Let the record show not one of them lost a single dollar.
You see it? Make them on a pound up. Hold on. Not to stop. Why, you see, why learning, channeling up, feel justified because I mean, well, we have the whole thing. I talk to Dr. Omar Davis when I see me talk to him. But before you see me have the thing, them, I'm going to fling them out, you know? Because I always have them thing there. You hear me say, make the record show. No follow them what them I say. These are propagandas. Them borrow money. And you see everything where you hear me I say, you see it? You never hear him talk so before, don't it? But we have the record and we have the thing them. Eh? No tabloid on here. Eh? Continue, Sir Patterson. Continue. Continue, sir. Yeah, man, we can continue.
I'm not surprised that there was no final report about FinSac. Because the commissioners could not find what they were sent in to look for.
If I just make myself look...
Let me move this fast. Come out of my way. Come on. Whoa.
And indeed, the full story had been told in Parliament and was in testimony before the commissioners. When that happened, the multilateral financial institution said to us, yes, we persuaded you to open the system and to grant license because we wanted to have competition in the financial markets. But when they failed, they said to us, this is what a market economy means. They took the risk, let them pay the price, drive it to the wall. As a responsible government, we had to look at questions of trust and confidence.
Yes.
For local depositors,
Yes.
what would it mean to Jamaicans overseas that were sending money back home? We had to look what would be the social consequences of a meltdown. And I think some of you will remember that special conference that I summoned at National Arena. And there is a hard-working farmer, an honest man, a firm Christian believer. I've known him for a very long time. Unlike some, he come to conference, but he don't talk. And I was on the platform, and when I saw Eric Thompson going to the mic, I said, my God, what is he going to say? How many of you remember what he said? He said, comrade leader, me no business what the bank name. All the bank down a Falmouth, a few bank. Because if you never give them license, them couldn't get my money. I'm a hard working man, as you know. Anytime me go down there and me ask for my money and me can't get it, me I go back to Daniel Town, and the next word were what really shocked me. And I'm going to sharpen my cutlass, and blood is going to flow like a river down the Martha Brae. And you know, for the thing, that was a Sunday. The Friday I'm passing through Falmouth, and he flagged me down. And he said not one word about his conference presentation. He was complaining to me that Bull not pulling him weight in the constituency, and I must get rid of it. Now, after that experience, we put in place the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Company to protect small and medium-sized depositors in full. We also created the...
That means when you deposit your money, it automatically insure, I think that them put in place. Yeah, what him do? After Siaga, they mash up the thing. They shine the one of them.
Financial Services Securities Commission.
See that them do it.
To regulate institutions that deal with insurance, pensions, and securities.
Yes.
In order that investors and depositors would be alerted in advance of any failure and therefore spared any repeat.
Yes.
Now we come to SSA.
Thank you.
And I ask, how could any government in their right senses possibly think that the failure of a licensed institution to repay 200 investors whose money has vanished could become an issue of national secrecy? It is a matter which is of concern to the entire nation and our standing in the world. And for them to have thought so borders on lunacy when one of the members is a living legend. I want to be very clear. Nobody is singling out Bolt for any special treatment.
No. But
He has not asked for it,
yes.
and I don't think he expects it. But the widowers, the pensioners, and all the persons who were robbed have a compelling interest in finding out how the money goes. Usain Bolt is a loyal Jamaican
Could I leave?
who is an international icon.
Yes. Could I leave?
He's not going to use the same image or rhetoric as his parishioner, Mr. Thompson from North Trelawney also. But the fact is, even if he kept quiet about it, there is an interest because you have some publications that track the income and the worth of
Thank you.
athletic stars
Yeah, athletes.
and of musical stars.
Yes.
So they have been following the story. And when they see a sudden dip in their account, they're going to take notice of it. So it is just sheer stupidity for them to pretend that this thing can happen and the opposition is not going to say anything about it. We're not creating any partisan issue out of it. This is a national issue.
Thank you.
By my own profession and disposition, I don't like to engage in rumor, speculation, or gossip. I know there is a legal presumption of innocence
Yes.
to which all accused are entitled. If anyone who thinks that whatever Ms. Panton is accused of doing, if in fact she did anything could be done by her alone, must still believe that the world is flat.
In less than 24 hours, you will have $1,000 in your...
Leave fast, because know where I
Justice demands that the thief or thieves be found.
Thank you.
And receivers of the stolen money, if any, end up where those who have been convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction go, where criminals belong. Bolt's money was not lost, it was stolen, plain as daylight. We must not prejudice the right of fair trial of any accused. But there are issues which, according to our constitutional entitlement of free speech, demand ventilation and not a muzzle.
Thank you. Yeah, that's check 5.
In 1998, Mr. Eric Thompson would have had no legal recourse for a failure of his bank. But now, there's the FSC. Mr. Bolt has very competent lawyers. I do not intend or need to offer them legal advice. But what I would say is, if they have not already done so, the FSC had better pad up a top-class legal team. Because the question is going to arise, has there been a breach of its statutory duties? And they certainly expose themselves to civil action in our courts by any of the or all of the 200 investors whose money has disappeared.
Yes.
I want to move to an area which demonstrates the fundamental difference between our two political parties.
Yes.
The PNP has always endorsed the critical value of strong economic indicators. Let no one tell you otherwise.
True.
But the PNP does not believe macroeconomic stability is an end in itself. We recognize it is a vital foundation upon which to build sustained economic growth and lasting social progress. Plainly put, we don't only want a good report card for the multilateral financial institutions, but more so, we want the money and the performance measures to be used as the key to ensuring development in order to accentuate the full release of our human potential and to yield a satisfying quality of life for our Jamaican people.
You see that? So you hear what I'm saying? The human capital, right? Yes. And deal with it. Not them for them friends just chuck up and say, we this and we that, and 3 years later we so feel. We don't have foolishness. So foolishness. People are suffer. 77.3% of people can't even find a meal right now. And the Andrew Hollis-led government. Not my word. Go look for UN, them just put it out. I went last month, me show that. Not my word. You understand? All these people are doing is do PR. I trick people with PR. It will stop. It will stop. Continue.
Norman Manley in 1930 espoused the party's commitment to place an emphasis on the masses who were poor, weak, and vulnerable. That has endured throughout the ages as a priority for all PNP administrations.
Yes.
The party's record of social intervention throughout all its terms in government, from Norman Manley to Portia Simpson Miller, is well documented.
Thank you.
Our policy initiatives in the social sector have been consistently based on rigorous analysis that underpin our policies and programs. Setting the record straight, in the 90s, we introduced a poverty index which allowed annual tracking on the impact of cost increases on the entire population and particularly on the lowest income groups. That was the basis for the introduction of the National Poverty Eradication Program.
Okay.
It helped us to identify selected geographical areas, not based on political support, but on the basis of needs, which deserve special interventions in terms of providing physical and social infrastructure. Let the record show we dramatically reduced the poverty line, which was at 28.4% in 1990 to 9.9% in 2007. It is clear that the focus that we place on the poverty index no longer exists. Why do I say so? Despite the macroeconomic statistics, so many of our families, workers, and those in menial services are today demoralized and discontented. In the last 8 years, we are falling further and further behind on meeting the 2030 Millennium Goals. The party introduced a human resource development program because we believe that the country must invest heavily in human capital if we are to get a qualitative improvement of our daily lives. We believe in shared prosperity, not confined to a special few.
Andrew and the minions, big house per hill, bank account 28, 473 million I run through the account, 700,000 US where him say, oh, the bank make a mistake of 700,000 Jamaican. You can't tell me that. Eh? And be a them people and all kind of little things and no police to do nothing to this. The whole of them corrupted. I have to move them out. Continue.
But shared equitably, and hence we shifted focus from poverty alleviation as a welfare benefit to poverty alleviation as a means of providing human justice. Hence, path, a social safety net, no longer food stamps and handouts. We sought to alleviate poverty by building capacities for families below the base income line, elderly, disabled, youth at risk. A cricket imagery was made by Mr. Gordon. For us, this was a shock attack on the ranks of poverty and inequality.
New offline instant.
We're not have that quick. We're not have that quick. Oh.
Health. We don't believe in gimmickry about a free health system that has people waiting for days and days and days. It is on the verge of collapse. Let me refresh your memories.
Hear this. Hear this.
We upgraded and refurbished KPH, Mandeville, St. Anne's Bay, Cornwall Regional, Spanish Town, Bustamante Children. The new Maypen Hospital that we built is the only new hospital built over the last 50 years.
No, be there. No, hold on there. All right. So, because them never know. This is what them go around and tell people now, PMP no build no hospital. When him refurbish the whole of them, remember in a children's hospital, the new part belong to, you know. You have a new part, but we don't go now. That look on the old part, you know, the old part that this we used to use. Then build a new part. Refurbish and do them thing. And the Maypen Hospital, we build new hospital too. And them tell you, say, up to now, can no more hospital now, don't build all now. But this is where the JLP them run out with. The official less them to PMP never build a hospital, and then you have the minions them now run and repeat this. It make them, you can't, we need back Jamal. Before you come out and spread this, you not look bad, You can't put on a face up, I don't know how to do it. Because then like people have built, some of them want to brush your teeth, You don't want toothpaste. Yes. You don't want, yeah man, you don't need toothpaste for your teeth, man. Yes. Same. When it does come and put on the face and does say anything, remember, when you do it now, come down. Then when I do a mash up phone yourself, please, Andrew, one is. He might have done easily like this thing ever walk the face of the earth. Yes? Uno run out. PMP never build. PMP never do this. Stop on the foolishness. Stop it, man. The record there to show up. It document. Listen, as long as our government are run, what them do it document it. Say, fool no mind not telling you this. It's there. And you can't go back through the era and you find when this come in and when that come in and what them doing. It's documented, it's there. It now go away. So when you run out and get some little gun in the upper house with them look nasty self, we don't now move nobody. We now do some pit latrine. Nobody can't respect you and nastiness. Stop with the mis and disinformation. It not help you. So if you just come out and talk, blah, 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 what do you think it do? People look down upon one man, it look bad, man. That's so much I want to just, adapt and your own this kind of lifestyle and femalize them to, man. Eh? When people find out so I lie, them and fling on the one side too. Mash up phone yourself, you don't have no sense. Eh? Continue the, so, yeah. You hear phone yourself. Continue the same way, man. We want back Jamal, yeah? And then for brush them teeth, yeah? Enough of them, yeah? All right. You know, enough of them in them video, them not see drunk and line up with spear and shield and everything. Them not see it. Yeah, man. Continue.
We introduced jobs for the elderly. And I will just say this one simply. I heard them asking what would have happened if we had the COVID epidemic and the PNP was in power. And I asked them the question, how would they have survived COVID if it were not for the National Health Fund?
I'll tell you.
And put it simply, very, very simply, the National Health Fund for Health is what the National Housing Trust was intended to be. But Prime Minister in waiting, you have to prepare your plans for the next step to move from a National Health Fund to a national health system. When it comes to education, everybody knows that is PNP territory. It shouldn't be surprising because teachers were involved in the concept of the PNP. That is how Howard Felix Hanlon Cook came to be a founding member that drew up the Constitution for the People's National Party. I am not able to go into any extensive presentation. I've been begging Damien on education. I said, do for God's sake, take education out to the people. Make us bring back the People's Forum. We have a situation where there's a report presented a good report, but the stakeholders have no involvement in what it contains. We believe that education is a key driver of social and economic transformation. And it is the more important for technological innovation to build a knowledge society, which is where we are seeking to go. In passing, remember, we reopened the vocational training centers that had been closed. We expanded HEART to embrace the national training agencies.
But yeah, the vocational training center, them say them close, but them come with that, which I them just upgrade.
The quintile of tertiary students in Jamaica moved from 6.5% in 1991 to 19.5% by 2004. When I took office, we had one university.
Listen this.
When Portia left office in 2007, we had 6. I'm almost embarrassed to mention a comparison in the field of housing. When we completed Greater Portmore in 1995, we had 10,850 houses for that year.
1 year.
That is more houses than they built in any 4 of their years in office.
Yeah. In the term.
We built 150,000 houses.
Listen. Voila, you hear much house? 150,000. You hear much taken out with lamb? With the thing that with the thing that with them talk about. Hear this.
Where are they in fulfilling their promise to build less than half of that? 70,000. We provided 58,000 families with land titles under Operation Pride.
Thank you. Oh, yes,
They have handed over 280 social housing units in 7 years.
200 and add social houses. So little folk up to and even houses then. Social houses. Come on.
That makes for good photo op.
Thank you, photo up. Photo up. Yes.
But it would take an eternity to satisfy the demand. To stimulate growth, we created entities that generate economic activity, which expand business enterprises and provide employment. In 2005, we attracted $800 million of investment, mainly in construction, mining, and agro-processing.
I remember people, 2005, 800 million, right? Yes, in investment, the US. Okay. And that when the dollar even strong, not coming like, no, when you get the little shade, it look like, yeah, continue.
We build the physical infrastructure.
Yes.
The airport in Montego Bay, the North Coast Highway, water supplies, reliable energy to support hotel development as well.
Okay.
2 of our local chains grew Sandals, Super Clubs, We did not forget the small hoteliers. Then there was the Spanish investment. And believe you me, it's difficult for me to stay in the pavilion and watch when they talk as though they are responsible. It is a myth.
A myth.
I don't want to use any imagery from a former leader on their side, how to treat lies. But all I would ask them to do, give credit where credit is due.
Thank you.
Right versus green bananas. Unlock the
Thank you. Give credit where credit due. You understand? They give credit where credit due, man.
Thing to do.
Yes.
Any of you remember when a cell phone was like a briefcase?
It's bigger than a fridge. Of course. Of course. No.
The availability of cellular phones has increased by 500%.
We must stop him there for a minute. Can you imagine now? Just man in Jamaica without them cell phone and the one of them thing there with the people them are use. And the same thing them are use against the man, you know. I say him at the worst. Me ask you, just show me one thing where Andrew do. Andrew tell you we are paid down pandit. We are service debt. And you know, we're managing, we're fixing the economy, placing the economy and sustainable part. A portion of them put it on the part. And them have a trajectory, forgot to, I think, 2030. Google it, you see it. From when them come and deal with it, you know, Portia seem similar and Dr. Peter Phillips, them up. See, Mark Gold in them there, you know, was there. See? And they are now. See? Them put it on a sustainable part. Because remember, them go back and borrow the money and mash up the thing, you know. And default on it, you know. And then them use PR for trick people. That's why I'm a vex. And attack Sir Manley. Then them attack Sir Patterson. Then when you look Queenie, you know, when the people them come, I mean, I have it up here, I mean, I even move it, but I can just click it. Warmington them coming at 1820 and then buy slave. They have the whole record, the family record and everything. Now St. Catherine, name St. George. See, that time you have St. Dorothy, you have St. Thomas in the Vale and all. You understand the whole of them? Wait, just taking back in St. Catherine. You know, see where it ban? Queenie. Yeah? Yes. You know, see where it ban? That's why I talk about peace and wars and do all kind of things as slave master. Great grandfather and great granduncle, and great them are slave people them. But yesterday I called Mark Golden where the gold in them never in a slave trade. And you call him back a master when England Nazi Queenie them come from. When people them are come buy and have slave. Yeah? That's what I say, can't follow them. Make sure when you talk, when you do look at research, yeah? It did there. And thank for Patterson them. Because you only depend on your laptop now and you think. And look how much job this create. It on the vehicle them. All them car, them taxi there and them thing. Look how much job it create. You have your own bus now and all. And I do your thing and the whole of thousands of taxis and bikes and things where I do delivery and everything. And say, yeah, you have enough of the vehicle do deliveries. Thank God for him. Sir Michael and Mama P. And Sir Norman. Saying, no history. Don't make them come with the PR around ya. You understand? I'm going to deal with that. No tablet boy. Ya. Yes, man. Continue.
You go through the countryside and the farmer in the cane field.
Yes. I'm madman.
Cell phone.
I'm madman now.
You know what irks me? I saw one time they were putting out something about the Universal Adult Fund, Universal Access Fund, with the then minister proclaiming, I had to go to Washington to talk with the Treasury Department because they were saying that the tax we imposed on calls coming in was in fact a tax on them. We established the Universal Access Fund by levy on all inbound telephone calls to provide broadband island-wide, free Wi-Fi national coverage, and scholarships for those who are engaged in that field. And dare I say that those in the media who are always attacking us, particularly in broadcasting, it did never occur to them that but for what we did to open the media landscape, they would not exist.
Thank you. Hey, well on the Sir Patterson. You say, you know, themselves for them dangerous. Them won't exist. Yes, Papa. Well, yes. Well. Well. Yeah, them won't exist. Them won't exist neither, don't it? So my grandson come call me. I'm mash man come mash up a plate again now. That the food is good. All right. Yes. That the food come from mash up a plate again now. Yes. You're right. Yes, man. See? And them attack him, but yes, still him make them have a job. Yeah? Them no easy boy, man. Make we continue. Continue this. Yes, continue.
Hear me. I'm not asking them to modify their position. All I say, speak the truth and speak it ever, cost it what it will.
Thank
And that is why we have introduced the Access to Information Act. We introduced the National Commission on Science and Technology to coordinate the programs and develop the linkages with the sector of science and technology in both the public and private sectors. We brought a fresh approach to governance, including building into our programs community participation and ownership. That is how JSIF was born, to support education, training, health, community projects, to stimulate the creative industries and early childhood education. We use money from the Bauxite Fund for the development of projects in villages in the surrounding areas of mining. Tourism Enhancement Fund to spur amenities in destination for visitors and residents alike. The Inner City Development Program, the removal of zinc fences. Let me set the record straight on how we compare on economic growth, because I think it's an insult to our intelligence when they are claiming that they manage the economy better than the PNP. The World Bank data shows that between 1992 and 2006, the economy grew more than is the case between 2016 and 2023. What happened to 5 in 4?
5 in 4.
The Article 4 report card from the IMF that we received in 2006 spoke in glowing terms of what we had accomplished in our own macroeconomic programs designed by us but we design those programs mindful of our domestic challenges and social objectives. There can be no argument that in 2007, we left the economy of Jamaica in a much better state than we found it in 1989. The heavy investment in infrastructure and restructuring of the financial sector we undertook represents the vital change which has taken root and opened wide the doors for all the investments in tourism, mining, information and communication technology, which has taken place since then. Don't let anyone else claim paternity. That is jacket. But through it all, as we sought to boost production, we never, ever lost sight of the obligation to secure social justice for all our people. At the same time, and this is not something we get credit for, we worked tirelessly to reduce political tribalism. We do not regard scarce benefits as the spoils of victory. We believe they should be allocated according to needs. And all of this was aimed at reducing political tribalism and thereby eliminate political violence. And I hope the government in its last few months in office will never forget that. It will take another session like this to get the record straight as to what triggered the initial complacent retort in 2012 by the then Minister of Finance when there were banking failures in both the United States of America and the United Kingdom. It is they who took us back to the borrowing window of the IMF. The PNP in 2012 inherited an economy which was faltering. The IMF had stopped sending the money. There's a complete absence of confidence in Washington and external capital markets. Jamaica was in deep mud. No one can deny that it was under the watch of Jamaica's 7th Prime Minister, Portia Sims Miller, with Dr. Peter Phillips as Minister of Finance, that our international creditworthiness returned to a secure footing. It was the PNP between 2012 and 2016 which laid the course to reduce the debt ratio to GDP.
Thank you.
And to build up the net international reserves to historic levels.
Thank you.
Since then, and I am always fair, there has been a continuation along that path.
That's true.
But no one should be boasting about the present trends and forget which party made us turn the corner again. The People's National Party, or even worse, trying to spread false propaganda. They will preen on the indices and even try to explain when a recession, by classic economic definition, is not in fact a recession. I am not going to get engaged in that semantic row. What I do know is that there are too many families, some with two working parents, who simply cannot make ends meet. I know that there are too many young professionals who do not see when, if ever, they will own a home. I read reports in international documents that hunger and malnutrition in Jamaica have reached alarming levels.
Thank you. It's there.
Why are they surprised that the birth rate is falling?
The birth rate. Oh, yes.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, I believe it is high time, even those who are in slumber and denial, to wake up to the alarming collapse of trust and confidence in the country and the social alienation which is most severe among our disenfranchised youth. As a party, we cannot ignore the breakdown of trust and confidence in Jamaica. Nor will I remain silent when the moral order is under siege and the social order in decay.
Yes.
The institutions which we created to promote good governance are all being castigated and undermined. Even when the Auditor General makes a report that billions and billions of dollars are unaccounted for, she finds herself under attack.
Can you imagine, man?
We have to change course, and the PNP has to come to the rescue once again in order for us not to go over the precipice. I am sure that the PNP under Mark Golding will in clear and precise terms tell the country how we will ensure transparency and accountability in government, because that is our DNA in the PNP. To those who have sought to pervert history, I ask them, don't confuse your political opinion with the verdict of the people. For the people have spoken loudly and clearly in 93, in 97, and again in 2002. They logged on to progress because we did not forget the poor. Soon, the people will have the right to speak again. It is for us to tell them the story of the policies and programs that benefited the majority of our people, including our workers, the poor, the elderly, the children, and the most vulnerable. Ours is a record of solid achievements. There is no better way to commemorate the majestic century of the immortal Michael Manley than to celebrate a victory when the trumpet sounds and our people answer the call. It is no longer my prerogative.
Performing on the biggest.
Yeah, run through that quick. Run through. Wow.
On issues of party policy. There's a debate budget debate coming up. I expect we'll hear from our Minister of Finance designate about the new economy, how we're going to boost innovation,
Yes.
productivity,
Yes.
and the creative arts. I expect to hear from the President when he speaks an outline of the policies in accordance with the fundamental tenets of the PNP. How we're going to get a government which is honest, accountable, and progressive. I have every confidence they will pursue with energy and determination the party's quest to fashion a safe, productive, and quality society. No one, and certainly the laborites, never forget the outcome when I was the man to fly the gate. Whether in 93, 97, and 2002, I know I'm no longer the one to call it. And I don't intend to indulge in prophecy. But I can still read the tea leaves. And the window is closing. I take note that the 48th meeting of heads in Barbados last week accepted an invitation from the government of Jamaica to hold the 49th meeting of heads in Montego Bay on July the 6th to the 8th. So, in what those of us who knew the hurricane poem, June may not be any longer too soon. And I would suggest, party leader, that you issue the order to saddle up, time all your candidates, mount the horses. Let's get ready for whatever that time may come. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing, comrades. Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, you mean? Let me say I can get an all right. Let me get a piece of the party leader. That's all right. And hold on there. Let me get the party leader right here. All right. Yes. Party leader. Let me hear you.
In this era where misinformation flies around cyberspace at alarming levels and speed, and where our opponents devote considerable effort to revise history in ways which seek to denigrate, understate, and otherwise misinform about the achievements and the performance of the People's National Party in the various iterations of government where we have led. Almost as if they realize that if the truth is well understood, it will be obvious to the electorate where the right choice lies. And so I want to commend the Outreach Commission and the regional outreach committees for conceptualizing and implementing these two symposia, in which our beloved former party leader and Prime Minister has had this opportunity to, as has been said, set the record straight, lest they forget. And he has done so with great distinction and persuasiveness. And, sir, I know your birthday is coming up soon, and all I can say is that you are an example to us all of the power of acuity of mind, the ability to research and to deliver such persuasive content with such ease. And all I know is that you're going from strength to strength, sir. You really are. Really are. And I must tell you what a pleasure it is and how fortunate I feel that you are still so active and so generous with your time and your ideas.
Hi, guys. Hey, all right. Skip.
I, for one, have benefited greatly from our interactions, and I look forward to that continuing long into the future. Comrades and friends, we are meeting at a time when Jamaica will be facing the polls in short order. I am pleased to say that your party has its 63 candidates in place. We have been focusing on the preparations for the elections which are coming. We have been strengthening, auditing, fine-tuning our organizations in the constituencies. And we have been making other preparations to ensure that when it comes, we are ready.
Yes.
I ask each and every one of us here, in keeping with
let's get out of the stop. Go ahead and say something.
on a collective basis, because unity is strength, and we are facing potential challenges that will require us all to pull together as a region to ensure justice prevails when attempts are made to knock us off course. In terms of our economy, Jamaica has achieved significantly debt sustainability through the sacrifices and fixity of purpose of the last 10 to 12 years. I, like others, am very proud of the leadership of Portia Simpson Miller and Dr. Peter David Phillips, who grasped that nettle when it was at its most challenging and deployed the political capital that existed at the time to ensure that we navigated very challenging reforms and high primary surpluses, which meant there wasn't a lot of money around to do other things, and stood by it because the future of our country depended on it. And this government inherited a situation where the heavy lifting had largely been done. The debt to GDP ratio had been brought down from the dizzy heights of over 140% to 115% in just 4 years, through a combination of tight fiscal management and creative debt dynamic reorganization, in particular, the deal with the Venezuelan government when we bought back the Petrocarib debt at less than 50 cents in the dollar. Having got the debt to GDP ratio down now to the high 60s, with the target ultimately in law of 60%, we realize that the future requires a different approach. Because even though our debt is no longer the heavy burden that it was, we are, as a nation, in a stagnant economy that is characterized by low GDP per capita levels, way below our peers. So the national wealth is much lower than it should be. We have low unemployment on the official statistics, but vast swathes of our workforce are unskilled and are employed in low-tech and low-wage jobs.
Plus, you have some of them saying, going around 500, 600,000 of them saying, look at jobs, so them nobody put them on the job list. That's a foolishness. Them want a job, can't get a job.
Where we have the second highest level of brain drain in the world, and where our balance of payments is absolutely dependent on the generosity of the diaspora in supporting Jamaican families through remittances.
All right, that's it.
We have to completely re-engineer our growth model, starting with energy, which is really the key element to a more productive economy. And I'm glad that I have with me Comrade Philip Paulwell, who is a man who always sees the big picture and the opportunities to deliver transformational change in his portfolios. Food security is going to be critical in the era that we're in and what is coming at us. The recent reports of the FAO indicate that 55% of Jamaicans are facing moderate to severe food insecurity.
It's all upper than that. The one, the UN says 77.
Meaning that they are unable to have a balanced and nutritious diet, and many of them are underfed. We have to deal with that situation. And Jamaica is blessed with tremendous potential to produce food which is in demand here and abroad. And we need to focus on our agriculture and agro-industry and ensure the necessary inputs and support for our farmers are put in place so that we can achieve a much higher level of food security for our people. The education and health sectors are both characterized by a sense of crisis. Comrade Patterson outlined the situation in the healthcare sector, where if you have to interact with a public health facility and you need to be admitted, you are in a very perilous situation where you could be facing protracted delays in very uncomfortable conditions. And even though you may eventually get a bed, though there's no guarantee, when you have to deal with the costs of the diagnostic tests, because the equipment is largely not working in the public hospitals and this is being outsourced, and you have to purchase all the various medical inputs at tremendous costs, you realize that to be poor is really a crime in this country because of what our people have to go through. In education, we are a mixed bag. We have centers of excellence, institutions of excellence that are performing at levels comparable with anywhere else in the world. And yet we also have significant deposits of underachievement and underperformance, which are shown in the statistics that over 30% of the children leaving primary school and entering secondary school in Jamaica cannot read and write, cannot do basic arithmetic, and lack the facility for critical thinking. That is a recipe for national disaster, because those children enter secondary school without the basics, which the curriculum at secondary school level assumes that they have. There are no proper arrangements put in place to remediate that situation, and many of them end up leaving school with nothing to show for it. And their prospects in a highly competitive world are dim. And of course, we know the avenues that many of them feel compelled to pursue. And that is what is feeding our problems of high levels of violent crime. We have to have a strong policy to remediate this situation in the early childhood and primary sectors. We have to deal with the realities in the secondary system. For those who are in it and are not at the levels that they need to be, we can bring them back up. And we have to deal with the financing of tertiary education in a way that makes education accessible to our people who need it most, especially those from low-income families. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to be making a big policy speech, but I just wanted to highlight the fact that we are in a new era, and an era which requires new solutions and new approaches. But we're up to the task, and we'll be doing it with clean hands and a clean heart, governing the country with integrity, and restoring trust and confidence in the political leadership of the country. A situation which is at the lowest ebb it has ever been, with a Prime Minister who has been under investigation by the Integrity Commission, can't have his integrity declaration certified, is suing the Integrity Commission, seeking to strike down Jamaica's anti-corruption laws, and there are 8 parliamentarians who are known to be under investigation for illicit enrichment and sitting in the parliament. And of course, in any decent democracy, they would disclose that so that electors know who they are and whether they're seeking re-election. So this is a time when we will have to take these issues extremely seriously and ensure that we build back the trust and confidence in the democratic processes of Jamaica, because those processes are under threat, not only here, but across the world. And it is only through doing the right thing and using the power reposed in us to uplift our people and to use the resources that are available to us exclusive for the benefit of the people, that we will ensure that democracy survives and the freedoms that we enjoy will be prolonged into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I have one main task tonight, and that is to introduce to you, we are in Region 3, and I wish to introduce to you all of our candidates who are going to run, other than those who are already members of Parliament. So I'm going to just need to borrow my phone. To ensure I don't leave anyone out, to have a list. And when I call their names, I'm going to ask them please to come up and to just stand on the lower level, so that when everyone is gathered, then Comrade Patterson and I will stand up behind and we'll have a nice photo opportunity. So I'm going to, and I'm not taking any particular order, I'm taking the order that was given to me. So the first candidate that I will call to stand right here is an attorney at law, graduate of Kingston College and the University of the West Indies, a man who has acquitted himself well at the criminal bar and has proven himself to be a formidable candidate in the constituency.
People may hear the candidate them, but we not hear about no patacat. It's a patacat by trade where you are turning up loud. Make us listen.
Of East Rural St. Andrew, I call on Comrade Patrick Peterkin to come forth and stand right there, Patrick. The next person, the next comrade I will call is the daughter of one of the great stalwarts of our movement. She has had a career which has spanned various sectors, but has been particularly involved in financial services. She's a very principled person and committed to serving people with a sense of love. And I believe that when she becomes the Member of Parliament for Eastern St. Andrew, she will be transforming that constituency and bring it to a better place. I bring to you Comrade Patricia Duncan Sutherland. Our next candidate is also an attorney at law, and she is the daughter of another luminary of the People's National Party. The sheriff is here, and his daughter is in town. And she is taking on the task of challenging for the seat where I live and vote, Northeast St. Andrew, a seat which we haven't won for a long time, but where she's facing an opponent who is nearer the departure lounge than anywhere else. And she's bringing to it incredible energy and is getting tremendous support. And I call on Comrade Stacey Knight to join us on the platform. The next candidate is also an attorney at law.
But hey, hold on the sir, Mark Gully. Hey, no people, hold on, you see this though, you see the difference? When you call around the sir, you call one where a beaten tick. See I have a buck up regular and him proud of it. Abuse, maybe from my child. I drop soap maybe when him young or older. Abuse. Not Tanya, not Jonas, none of them, not 13. None of these people, none of them. One and two of them you have, have career. But them have rear. You know about them have rear, yes. Queen E. And it continue. Just hear this. I'm going to listen to this. You hear this? Yes. People with career, watch out. Continue. That. Fast, run this fast. No, we not want that. Go.
Recently established his own firm, having previously worked in the public sector. He is also our deputy spokesperson for foreign affairs and foreign and regional affairs, and has acquitted himself well in that area. He has taken on another challenging seat, North Central St. Andrew, and he's bringing a fresh approach to a seat where the incumbent has been there for longer than any of us cares to remember. But he will not be running back. And so it represents a tremendous, as far as we know, so it represents a tremendous opportunity to bring a new change there. And I know that Christopher Henry is up to the task. Our next candidate is not an attorney at law. She is a development specialist with a great interest in community development, women's affairs, and agriculture. She grew up in rural Jamaica, but she has taken on the task of bringing home Northwest St. Andrew for the People's National Party. And she's doing it with a zeal and fervor, which I think has her opponents on the back foot and wondering what has happened to them. And we're very happy with what we're seeing there, and we're looking forward to her doing extremely well and bringing it home. And I speak of no other than Comrade Ethne Miller Simpson. Our next candidate is none other than the regional chairman. And he is a businessman who has built a remarkable business, providing services, labor and other services, and also in the health field. He's pioneering a new business to bring more cost-effective medication and procedures to Jamaica for the benefit of less well-off persons. He has a great experience in land resettlement and upliftment of communities that have been traditionally underserved, and was very involved in the program that delivered those 58,000 titles, which we spoke about. Comrade PJ, and I bring you Comrade Dennis Gordon, East Central St. Andrew. The next candidate is a man who served and protected for many, many years, and built a reputation as a fair and fearless crime fighter. A man who also was able to build tremendous relationships with the people in the communities that he served as a police officer, and is highly regarded in the force today. And I bring to you Steve McGregor for Central Kingston. And last, but by no means least,
Steve, you start to your code.
Two more? Okay. Yes, I have two more. Thank you. I now bring to you a powerhouse, a dynamo, an organizational genius who has the capacity to work at levels that put the rest of us, I wouldn't say to shame, but definitely in a different class. She has proved herself since joining our party as somebody who can deliver, turn around in fortunes, and played a major role in the 7 Love whipping that we gave the Labour Party in the local government elections in Hanover. She has gone into West Rural St. Andrew, where she has an opponent who we would all like to see get us a good beating in the next elections. I bring to you Comrade Joan Gordon Webley. And you can see we have a decent gender balance up here. And we put a lot of effort in, encouraged by our president of the women's movement and others to make sure that happened. And last but not least, we have a seasoned politician, a man who has won a seat before which many thought we could never win. A man who has served in government in the same program dealing with land settlement and community upliftment for underprivileged areas, where he acquitted himself with aplomb. A former footballer and cricketer of distinction, and a man who hails from the great constituency of South St. Andrew, which I have the privilege to represent now, but who is going to be taken home, back home to the People's National Party, no other seat than West Central St. Andrew, which has a long tradition of being in the column of the People's National Party, and where we see the opportunity to restore that tradition again. I bring to you Comrade Paul Buchanan. So, comrades, there you have it. These are our candidates, other than the ones who are already in Parliament. Myself, Comrade Philip, Comrade Tony, Comrade Angela, and who else? Comrade Julian. Thank you very much. So at this point, I would just say, let us gather behind Comrade PJ. No?
There is electromagnetic energy.
Yeah, because stop that. Because just move this fast. Move that fast. Move this fast. Move.
My father born ya. My father born ya. My grandmother born ya. My grandmother born ya. I born ya. I born ya. My leader born ya. My leader born ya. That's why I can't live ya. No, I can't live ya. He gave I a message to all those people who no love progress, who no love progress. Say to do them with land lease, say to do them with land lease. Let me do them with the pioneer war, do them with the pioneer war, do them with Jamal, do them with Jamal. Let me do them with free education, do them with free education. Equal pay for women, equal pay for women. Do them with the minimum wage.
We don't have time, come.
Time come. Time come. What you mean time come? What you mean, man? Time come. Time come. Time come. What you mean? Time come. Time have to come. Yeah, man. Knock it on them. And let me tell you something, people. We're not business. And when them want what, but the truth is the truth. Let me tell you, even you people who might have vote. Remember, you put the country first, yeah? Country go first. Stop make party telling a lie. And you honest, the many and them wanna go on and tell the lie. People don't want fact checking. And when you find you have candidates in the JLP walk and tell them so much lie and them think they want to get rid of them fast. It's a goddamn disgrace. In a 2025, them still are go run with the one bag of foolishness. Like you can't fact check it yourself. Thank God for Sir PJ Patterson. That you have tablet and phone and all kind of things, you have internet. You can check it with ease. And thank God, me not come on and me not do tabloid, you know. Nah, do it. Remember, me a super granddad, you know, so me not have no fun of doing this. Listen, them when me see them at the foolishness, it touch me, you know. I know a lie them I tell you now. And you come talk, say, back in the 70s. Remember, you know, him get part of the 70s. If you're about 1972, that means 1978, him in a grade 1 at school. Big school. Like all age, when him at 6. Yeah? 72, 6, 78. 79, him in a grade 2, I go all 80. So, tell me, remember when I go to basic school, you know? Then can't tell me nothing, you know. See? So, him have better sense than where my chat, but him a play politics. Politics. And then him have some little young bud, no bird. I call him young junker. Yeah, me just, young vulture. Let me just try for it, yes. See? Them no good none at all. Yeah. Yeah. See? Yeah, man, remember, you had PJ run with the farm. Yeah, man, and his cell phone. PJ do so much thing for the country, it's unbelievable. But amateur fucker, it them I use right now. Yes, it them I use. But yes, still them come on and them try for them come back with the bus where say I go sell out, them say chichi bus. Them come and tell all the youth, them say, them not build no school at 60 of them build. And refurbish him. He never talk what him do yet, you know. Yes? You understand? He no start talk what him do yet. Yes, man. Young drunker, man. I know, young vultures. When Kobe can go on to, Yes. You understand? But the lies, and me no mind, let me tell you something, you see me? I like when people tell lie, because when them tell lie, like Andrew Honest, your road be taught because the truth comes straight. And I know them not figure it out because them so daft that them feel when them tell a lie and people run out and say, yes, but preacher, when them go do some do research, they might embarrass themselves. You think we could have got on a camera and attack foolishness and then when the truth come out, I'm feel. People not trust you. You can't run election for lies. They mash up the place again in a from 2007 to the last of 2011, 2012, the fifth post swearing. Yes? And she remember them go back to the IMF in 2009, And the fault, And this way you matter about fiscal discipline. And the same thing when I play the video where I say Peter Phillips, I lift up himself in a bucket to pass the people's test. And make IMF vote for him, remember? Maybe not for one, I don't remember, but when me attack, because I'm a watch too, And me like show him wholeness. Me like show him them thing, Because me just IMF. Yeah, when him say these things, yeah. When him say this thing, me like mash him up with him one speech, because him dangerous. And I'm very dangerous. This time pass. Me like mash him up with him one speech. When him say Peter Phillips a drop himself, him say, oh, IMF vote for you. And yesterday they mash up the thing. And the same part when them say they pan a member a portion them set it pan a part and Peter Phillips them, One of the best finance minister, Omar Davis, when you call him, them a finger under the bus. The man no gone him no thief 1 cent. Go check Andrew and them minions, them. Yes. Yeah, go check them. 28 bank account of that phenomenon. The man must sit upon the ballot. No care what we not do. Restart and stop making mash up the party. Start tomorrow. Because I'm not going, We can't tell you this, The minions, let me tell you, where evil rise up, the people them get up and stand up and defeat that. I say only them are pure evil. 100% pure evil. Pure evil. And Byron say it a million times. Pure evil. Yes. You see? Yeah, man. You see females pan the hill at it in your face, You're there downtown and look up and we look at own this place that 1 room and 2 room and not worth the money, but him have it before him. You understand? Have it and have enough more place. And still at it in your face. Buy out police, buy out them. Have the big boys them around him. There's some of them for start go to prison now. Because they mash up Jamaica full it with coke. Cocaine. Them full it with cocaine. Them run the most bandolo and it have a fake pan uno. That's why them have so much red tape pan uno. We don't know chatting with them. And by the way, only I better get rid of dirty thinking broad back. Sesame 21. Remember you are 21 too. Get rid of broad back. And get rid of that dirty one too. Yes, that are fish headless. Papa Big Mama. Them and Big Mama have no use to right now. You can pay 1.2 billion. No use. So it don't make no sense. Tell Big Mama go pay the 1.2 million. And Sir Patterson, we thank you for your service, sir. Yes. And the good them, the thing them where you set up for Jamaica. Yes. We thank you, man. We now follow them. None at all. Now follow them. And you have to hold them accountable and that we are doing so. All honest by them own word, them they very dangerous. You understand? Very dangerous one, yeah. Done with them. You understand? Yes, man. So the record set straight when you hear anybody coming up and run up them mouth. And me tell them again. Because only have some minions. Some sperm whale. Some sperm whale, the big one, man, the dwarf one, them. Like, show some a sperm whale too, Show some 21 a sperm whale. Yes. And fish headless. Sperm whale, them, man. Sperm whale and blue whale, them. And squid. Big mama, them have squid, Yeah, man. Big mama, them have squid. See? Yes. Them there. It now help you honest. This time it now help your PR done. You're not supposed to depend on the ballot. Yeah, this is a goddamn disgrace to the whole country. Yeah? Yeah, man, don't ever stop the foolishness, man. Yes? And when them run out, we don't mind because we rub them out. It don't make sense. And the more you put on, it make una look more stupid because the people might do them one. You know, yes, facts checking. So when them hear something run out, them just look on that as germs. Yeah, one of them will spread the propaganda and mash up the place and them things. And that happen. So then for them to show up them face and run out with misinformation and disinformation and these propaganda and lies, people are mad them after, man. Them are gonna hurt themselves more than anything else. We don't mind. So make them go and show up themselves. Them are nastiness. Anyway, people, be there, you know. Later, yeah? Alright, I'm out. Bless.
We in lump sum, we a beat it till the hammer burn. We now make them get in and them and again. None of them boy, we none of them. We in lump sum, we a beat it till the hammer burn. We now make them get in and them and again. None of them boy, we none of them. We alone some rise up the bomber dude.
I'm not tough, not a Judas, them a backstabber. I'm my wife, and this straight beauty and glamour. No guy can walk to name me with no dagger. Me have the heart of Mandela, but the mind of a Zama in the mold. Like a bull man, we send us the jammer. Lyrically inclined, be a metaphor, so no listen to lyrics line to line. Become a lyrical fighter, put up in the rhythm, they want some more hole in a hater. Lyrically inclined.